Welcome back to From the Pages. And this time we drop straight into WCW Magazine February 1993, Volume 3, Number 2, an issue that feels restless, loud, and self-aware from the very first page, a company in motion trying to define itself at the exact moment the ground beneath it is shifting. Because before you ever reach a feature story, the departments already tell you this is a federation wrestling with identity, confidence, and contradiction. The editor's note opening by looking ahead while simultaneously looking inward, acknowledging growth, scrutiny, and pressure, followed immediately by late-breaking news hammering out last-minute updates designed to make the magazine feel urgent and alive rather than static. From there, Fan Jam turns the spotlight outward, inviting readers to speak their minds, praise, criticize, and argue, reinforcing that WCW wants to be seen as a conversation rather than a monologue. And as the pages turn front row, ringside explodes into controlled chaos. Gordon Sully anchoring credibility while covering Brad Armstrong, rolling through Have You Heard Rumors. Superstar stat packs including Johnny B. Bad, birthday listings for the month, Missy Hyatt speaking out, United Kingdom tour dates announced, crazy captions contest number 9 daring fans to participate, fan fun corners stacked with photos and letters, the section reading like a bulletin board plastered with energy, gossip, and personality. Threaded through all of this are the ads and promotions that define the ERA. Hotline numbers promising insider scoops, merchandise spreads selling shirts, photos, and programs, subscription pushes reminding you not to miss a single issue, the commercial engine humming constantly beneath the editorial voice. Then the Ross Report takes over with Jim Ross positioning himself as both analyst and gift giver, breaking down offerings for WCW stars with a tone that blends sincerity and authority before Tony Schiavone steps forward in his own column to ask the uncomfortable question, is Cactus Jack ruining Tony Atlas? Framing concern around extremity rather than spectacle. That tension carries directly into Hear Me Out as Larry Zbyszko on the edge of retirement takes a firm stand down memory lane, reflecting on the business, his place in it, and the realities of walking away, contemplative rather than bitter. Then the championship challenge puzzle interrupts the seriousness with playful engagement, word searches, and scramble challenges inviting fans to interact rather than just observe, before the features finally begin in earnest with Bill Watts Speaks Out, one of the most revealing pieces in the magazine as WCW's executive vice president delivers a remarkably candid look at the business behind the branding. Watts discusses why long-term guaranteed contracts were eliminated, how the company must adapt to survive, and why the top stars of tomorrow have yet to come. The article blunt, unapologetic, and quietly controversial before the magazine pivots into anticipation with the Starrcade 92 exclusive preview laying out the fallout of the Lethal Lottery, questioning who will team with whom, asking whether Sting can defend his Starrcade 91 Battle Bowl title, and presenting the full Starrcade 92 scorecard as roadmap and promise, positioning the event as both payoff and proving ground. Boys to Men expands the lens further, asking whether WCW's Young Lions can shape the future of the sport, the article buzzing with optimism and pressure, portraying a locker room loaded with dynamic young stars ready to take the torch if they can execute when the spotlight hits, hopeful but cautious, acknowledging potential without guaranteeing success, before Halloween Havoc 92 receives full match-by-match coverage, a night treated as unforgettable, each bout reviewed with ringside intensity, drama unpacked, stakes reinforced, the pay-per-view framed as a narrative checkpoint. From there, the spotlight narrows with the Third Degree featuring ravishing Rick Rude, who looks back at Halloween Havoc, while looking forward to ending Masahiro Chono, smashing Kensuke Sasaki, and capturing the NWA World title. Rude's confidence sharp and dangerous, the article framed as both warning and declaration. Then Out and About pulls the curtain back entirely, taking readers behind the scenes of Slam Jam 1, the ultimate wrestling music album, blending sound, sweat, and spectacle into a crossover experiment that feels perfectly early 1990s. The calendar and program guide spreads out like a roadmap for obsession, listing, televised action, live events, and cards in your area, ensuring fans know exactly where and when to invest their time and money. And as the pages keep turning, the ads never let up. Merchandise catalogs, posters, photo specials, hotline reminders, subscription deals, all reinforcing that WCW is not just a wrestling promotion, but a lifestyle ecosystem. Then the Danger Zone closes the mailbag with Paul E., dangerously dipping into fan correspondence, stirring controversy and reaction. Finally, parting shot lands with poetic irony as ravishing Rick Rude partially learns that what goes up must come down. The magazine ending not with certainty but consequence, a perfect encapsulation of where WCW stands in February 1993, ambitious, volatile, self-examining, and loud, balancing veterans and youth, tradition and extremity, business reality and creative risk. And once you've ridden that full arc from editorial introspection to pay-per-view spectacle to locker room candor, that's where it feels earned to say it. If you're digging these deep dives straight from the original magazines, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me what WCW era or issue you want next, because this kind of history only lives when the pages are turned and the voices are heard again, and there is always another story waiting just beyond the turn of the page. What stands out as the issue stretches on is how aggressively WCW Magazine tries to balance accessibility with authority, constantly reminding readers that they are insiders while still guiding them where to look and what to care about. And that tension shows up again in the smaller recurring elements tucked between features, short blurbs, photo captions, stat boxes, and promotional sidebars that reinforce names, alliances, and upcoming angles. The magazine repeatedly nudging the reader toward future television, future pay-per-views, future tours, making it clear that this publication is meant to sit alongside weekly programming rather than replace it, while ads continue to crowd the margins, urging fans to call hotlines, order merchandise, or lock in subscriptions before the next issue drops. The emphasis on interaction is impossible to miss. From fan jam letters to crazy captions contests to puzzles and challenges, the magazine repeatedly inviting the reader to stop being passive and become involved, to write in, to vote, to solve, to react. And even the championship challenge, word games function as more than filler, acting as another reminder that WCW wants its audience engaged between shows, thinking about storylines, championships, and personalities even when the ring lights are off, reinforcing the idea that fandom is something practiced daily rather than consumed weekly, and that sense of ongoing participation becomes one of the issue's defining characteristics. The Ross Report and Tony Schiavone talks also take on greater weight when viewed together, both men positioned as trusted voices but approaching the product from different angles, Jim Ross leaning into tradition, professionalism, and structure, while Schiavone allows himself to question whether the path WCW is on carries long-term consequences, particularly when it comes to violence and extremity, and the concern over Cactus Jack's influence on Tony Atlas reads less like storyline hype and more like institutional anxiety, a company quietly asking itself how far is too far, and whether spectacle can start to consume the people creating it. Larry Zbyszko's Hear Me Out column deepens that introspection because retirement is treated not as an ending but as a reckoning, a moment to look back and measure what the business gives and what it takes. Zbyszko reflecting on the grind, the politics, the evolution of the industry, and his own place within it, the tone thoughtful rather than dramatic, offering a contrast to the louder features that surround it. And in that contrast, the magazine quietly acknowledges that wrestling careers are finite, even when personas feel eternal, a truth that hovers over every younger star being hyped elsewhere in the issue. Bill Watts' feature continues to echo through the magazine long after its pages are turned, because it reframes everything else you read, the emphasis on eliminating guaranteed contracts casting a shadow over every rising star profile and every previewed event. The notion that tomorrow's top stars have yet to arrive, adding pressure to the young lions being promoted, and when you move from Watt's blunt business realism into the hopeful optimism of Boys to Men, the contrast feels intentional. WCW presenting both the carrot and the stick. Opportunity paired with accountability, potential, balanced against a harsh economic reality. The Starrcade 92 preview and Halloween. Havoc 92 coverage also gain additional weight when read back to back. One looking forward with speculation and promise, the other looking backward with judgment and analysis, together forming a narrative loop where WCW defines itself through major events, measuring success not just by match quality but by consequence. Alliances formed, momentum shifted, and reputations altered, and the detailed scorecards, match breakdowns, and storyline reminders reinforce the idea that these events are chapters in an ongoing book, rather than isolated spectacles. Rick Rude's presence looms especially large as the issue moves toward its later pages because his confidence feels weaponized, his goals sharply articulated, his international ambitions placing WCW within a broader wrestling ecosystem that includes Japan and the NWA title lineage. And when paired with the behind-the-scenes look at Slam Jam 1, the magazine captures a promotion attempting to expand its footprint beyond traditional boundaries, blending wrestling with music, spectacle with branding, and risk with reinvention. a strategy that feels daring, uncertain, and unmistakably of its time. Even the calendar and program guide carries more importance than a simple listing, functioning as a map of obsession, laying out televised shows, house cards, and regional appearances in a way that reinforces WCW's national reach. And as readers scan dates and locations, they are being subtly reminded that this company lives on the road, in arenas large and small, night after night, and that connection between the printed schedule and the live experience is reinforced again by ads selling programs, posters, and photo specials, souvenirs meant to anchor memory to paper. The Danger Zone column closes the conversational loop by returning to fan reaction, Paul E. dangerously dipping into correspondence, amplifying controversy, needling opinions, and stoking debate, ensuring that even as the magazine winds down, it never truly settles, and when parting shot lands with Rick Rude learning that what goes up must come down, the lesson feels broader than a single man or angle, applying equally to careers, companies, and eras, the magazine ending not with certainty but with consequence, perfectly in tune with a promotion still defining its future. And once that entire arc has played out, from editorial self-examination to business candor to youthful ambition to pay-per-view spectacle and back again, that's where the invitation finally feels earned, because if you re-digging these deep dives straight from the original magazines, living in the details and contradictions of wrestling history as it actually unfolded, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me which WCW era or issue you want next, because there is still so much more living on these pages, waiting to be heard again.